The entire terminal froze. The smell of burning paper filled the air. Amara Daniels hung, black and trembling, in disbelief as the flames devoured her passport on the cold airport floor. The white officer who'd snatched it from her hand just watched it burn, lips curling into a faint smirk. "No valid documents. No travel," he said flatly. Her voice broke. "That was my passport. My only proof of identity." He shrugged. "Then I guess you're nobody now." People nearby stopped, some filming on their phones, others pretending not to notice. Humiliation burned hotter than the fire. Amara's fingers trembled around her travel bag. "Please, I have a flight to catch. I'm supposed to attend a peace summit in Geneva." The officer tilted his head. "Peace summit? Where's your sponsor then?" She blinked, fighting tears. "I'm representing a youth organization." He laughed, a short, cruel sound. "Sure you are." Behind her, the announcement board flickered. "Flight 427 to Geneva. Final boarding." Amara had dreamed of that flight for months. She'd spent nights studying policy documents, preparing her speech about children displaced by war. Her mother used to say, "When doors close on you, Amara, speak until they open." But here, in this airport, her words had no power. "Step aside, ma'am," another white officer said, approaching. His tone was calm but cold. "You're causing a scene." "I didn't do anything," Amara cried. "He destroyed my passport." The first officer crossed his arms. "Ma'am, we had reason to believe it was fake." Her jaw dropped. "Fake? That passport was issued by the government itself." "Then you can file a complaint with your embassy," he said, dragging out the word as if it were a joke. Amara's voice quivered. "Please, just call the supervisor." The man sighed and waved over a woman in uniform. "Julia, take care of this." The supervisor, a tall white woman with sharp eyes, walked over slowly, clipboard in hand. "What seems to be the problem?" "This young lady tried to use a suspicious passport," the first officer said, "so we confiscated it." Amara stepped forward. "You didn't confiscate it, you burned it." Julia blinked, her expression tight. "You burned it. It was clearly counterfeit," he muttered, looking away. The woman exhaled. "Miss, what's your name?" "Amara Daniels." Julia tapped her pen. "Nationality?" "Liberian." Julia frowned. "Do you have any other ID?" Amara shook her head. Everything was in that passport: visa, ticket, ID card. A long silence stretched between them. Then Julia leaned closer. "Look, miss, this is unfortunate, but without valid travel documents, there's nothing we can do. You'll have to contact your embassy." Amara's shoulders slumped. "My flight leaves in 10 minutes. Please, it's not just a flight, it's my future." Something in her tone cracked through the tension. Julia hesitated. The crowd watching whispered. Some looked sympathetic, but the first officer, his badge read Reynolds, smirked again. "Maybe next time, bring a real passport." Amara turned to him, trembling. "Why are you doing this?" He didn't answer. His eyes said it all. He saw her skin before her credentials. Hours passed. Amara sat on a metal bench near gate 12, her bag at her feet. Tears dried on her face. Her dream of speaking at the summit, her only proof of identity. She whispered to herself, "Mom, what would you do?" Then her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "Are you at the airport? Your flight hasn't departed yet." She blinked. Before she could reply, a tall white man in a navy suit hurried toward her. Two security officers followed behind. "Ms. Amara Daniels?" he asked. She stood slowly. "Yes, I'm Deputy Director Alan Cooper from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs." Her heart pounded. "Ministry?" He nodded. "You were scheduled to represent the African Youth Development Forum." "Correct." "Yes, but they destroyed my passport." Alan's jaw tightened. "Who did?" She pointed at Officer Reynolds, who was now leaning casually against a counter. Laughing with another guard, Alan turned to his security detail. "Bring him here." The officer's smirk vanished when he saw the diplomat's badge flash. "What's this about?" Reynolds muttered. Alan's voice was sharp. "You burned the passport of an international delegate." I thought it was fake. Without verification, without scanning it." Alan's tone rose. "Do you realize what you've done?" Julia, the supervisor, stepped forward nervously. "Sir, there must be some misunderstanding." "No misunderstanding," Alan interrupted. "The president of Liberia personally signed her delegation papers. Do you want to see them?" Gasps rippled through the crowd. Reynolds went pale. Alan handed Amara a folder. Inside was a new passport, emergency issued, and sealed diplomatic envelope. She opened it with trembling fingers. Inside, her name printed clearly under the Liberian national emblem, stamped and verified. "I don't understand," she whispered. Alan softened. "Your speech caught attention last month. The Foreign Ministry nominated you as a youth ambassador. The Geneva Committee expects you tonight." Her breath caught. After all the humiliation, she was still going. But Alan wasn't finished. He turned to the crowd. I want everyone to understand something. This young woman didn't need a title to deserve respect. You see a skin color and make judgments. But dignity is not something every human being is born with. The terminal went silent. Even Reynolds couldn't meet her eyes. Amara felt tears burning again, but not from shame this time. Thank you, she whispered. Alan smiled. You have 10 minutes before boarding. Let's get you to the gate. As they walked, travelers moved aside, whispering. Some took photos. Others murmured apologies under their breath. Julia approached hesitantly. Miss Daniels, I'm deeply sorry for what happened. Amara nodded politely. I forgive you, but I hope you'll never let this happen to another girl who looks like me. Julia's eyes softened. I won't. As the plane doors closed behind her, Amara gazed out the window. The city lights shimmered below, like the ashes of what she'd just survived. She replayed the moment, the fire, the laughter, the humiliation, and then the redemption. The very airport that stripped her of her dignity had become the place where she reclaimed it. In Geneva, hours later, Amara stood behind a podium facing hundreds of delegates. She began her speech not with anger, but with truth. Yesterday, she said, voice steady, I watched my passport burn. I was told I didn't belong anywhere. But today, I stand before you not as a victim, but as proof that no one can erase your identity. The world may try to define you by your color, your accent, or your passport, but dignity has no nationality. The audience rose to their feet. Alan watched from the front row, pride in his eyes. And back in that airport, Officer Reynolds sat in an office, suspended and silent, replaying her words on every news screen. Amara had spoken at the summit about peace, but her real message had already echoed across the world. Hate divides, but kindness heals. We are all equal as human beings. As she stepped off the stage, a journalist approached her. Miss Daniels, after all that, what kept you strong? Amara smiled faintly. My mother once told me, when doors close, speak until they open. Today, the world heard me knock. True power isn't found in status or uniforms. It's found in compassion, courage, and truth. Amara's story wasn't just about racism, it was about resilience, about how one act of cruelty can't silence a voice meant to heal. And as her plane carried her home days later, the same sky she once cried under seemed brighter, because this time, she wasn't running from injustice, she was rising above it.